Hello, everybody. I'm Kip Snow, Director of the Transportation Distribution and Logistics Institute at the Community College of Baltimore County.
Hey, everybody. Community Manager Mike Singer, Baltimore and Chesapeake Bay Ship Watchers. Welcome to Two Guys Talking Ship podcast, episode number 55. I'm still amazed at these numbers, you know?
Yeah, I know, right?
Feels like we just started this, I don't know, a few months ago or something. And
it's been over a year.
I know. The 55 would be a big indicator of that.
We'll have to celebrate somehow with like episode 100 or something.
Right? All right. We'll have to have big plans. We're going to do it. Where are we going to? We're going to try to do it.
We should do a meet and greet
on location.
Yeah.
Oh, a meet and greet and filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Sure, why not? We did it on the Brown once.
Why not? Why not?
All right, maybe we'll start planning that to see if give us something to look forward to.
That would be cool.
You got you got your shirt on today.
Yeah. It seemed to generate a lot of interest last time, so people I think they want to buy one.
I'd buy one.
I think I'm going to take orders.
Okay.
And I mean, they'll come here and then I'll have to ship them out to everybody individually. But I couldn't get the company to agree to find a way for people to order directly from them.
Gotcha.
So I'll have to take orders. So.
All right.
Oh, well.
We could all be sporting the Hawaiian shirts. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Hey, so a little bit further down the episode, so hang with us because we've got another Key Bridge update. So not as big and exciting as having the chief engineer from MDTA on for an hour, but a lot of little nuggets that I picked up this week from a bunch of different sources that we just haven't, or I don't remember hearing yet. So stick with us for later on in the podcast for that. And if you're new to the channel on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be alerted to new videos as they come available. All right, so what all do we have in the hopper?
Why don't we go ahead and get in with your shipping updates? I know that we've been away for a little bit, coming off of the Jim Harkness interview.
Right,
and had some vacation times and things, but we've got some new numbers. So why don't you go over the new numbers, and then in the next episode we'll look at trying to recap everything over the past 6 months or so.
Right. And so, like Kip just said, because I haven't been paying attention, and then when the numbers come out, they put them up on the website, and then I total them, by hand and divide by 5. And so it's a very manual process, but if I don't catch it before Monday starts, then what happens is you get Monday and Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday of the week before.
Oh.
And so now you don't have those 5. It's a running 5 day. The 5 day always moves. And I didn't grab it for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So all we have before. So all we have are 2 weeks. So the last 2 weeks, 3761 average per day, truck transactions average per day at Seagirt. And this week, 3876 with 1 day over 4,000.
Wow.
So that's cool. Because remember, we had that little blip. What was it, 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks ago, and went down to, I don't even remember what the number was. It was
low 3s.
It was shockingly low because we've been over 35 for months, right? So it's good to see the numbers back up. Yeah. And it's funny just, I forget that I pay attention to this stuff so much. I forget how much people don't know or how much other people don't pay attention, right? So there was a container ship that came in. It didn't look like it had a whole lot of containers on it, and it looked like it had less when it left. I mean, it was riding high with the bulbous bow like out of the water, right? That's how light it was. And somebody said, on one of the pictures of the video, because it was a video of it coming under the Bay Bridge, right? And somebody said, well, it might be a downturn. And I'm like, so I explained the whole premise of what the partnerships. That's not the right word. What's the right word, Kip? Those partnerships of like the like with the
Alliances.
alliances. Thank you. I think that's the right word. The alliances that were in place, and those ended what 6 weeks, 2 months ago, or something, and now we get more smaller ships with less cargo from more shipping companies, and one person sees a ship that looks empty and they think, but what they're not seeing is all the other ships that look full when they come through. So
all right, so just to kind of tie that together, you actually you just
I
actually
was all over the place. Sum it up for us.
no. I mean, you're absolutely correct. When companies all the time change their distribution models, so if agreements end, whether they're maybe it's just the time ends and that's just it, or if there's a problem and then an agreement ends because there's a problem, there's still cargo that's moving around. There are still deliveries that have to be made, and they may go and enter into some subcontracts, or maybe utilize some opportunities of economies of scale with other larger vessels, or maybe they have to piecemeal some routes together in order to make everything work. So it's quite possible that you would have capacity issues. When I say capacity issues, have more capacity or less capacity as they try to adjust it, and then let's go and throw all of the tariff changes and everything that's going on, and instead of it, a product coming from one country, it's now got to come from another in order for the reduced tariff to be applied, and that changes the routing. There's a whole bunch of things that could go into that. So you can't just make the assumption on one ship coming into one harbor and it's a little light that's an indication of the whole industry.
Right. And then sometimes, and the ships at Anchorage and Annapolis, flex a lot. Just was it a week and a half ago? There were 10 ships there. Now it's 2. So, and people make assumptions based on that too.
Sure.
And I think it's just a natural ebb and flow. I still haven't been able to have a finite kind of reasoning about what's happening down there.
Sure.
I can't put my finger on anything.
All right.
Let's see.
Do you want to get into some Port of Baltimore related news? All right. So
cool.
Yeah. So the Pride of Baltimore, we've got some updates on it.
Right. My favorite Patrick Smith spaghetti map.
That's right. So the Pride of Baltimore is in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. So that is right in, where is Sturgeon Bay?
I think it's, let's see.
It's right here. There's your Sturgeon Bay destination.
So, I think it's just left of that blue star in Michigan.
Right in here.
Yeah, we can't see you pointing, or I can't.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I'm using the wrong screen. There's your Sturgeon Bay.
It's only episode 55. Folks.
Yeah, you got a good blooper for free on that one.
Yeah, still figuring it out.
So over the weekend, the Pride 2 was met by crowds and visitors and sold out the sales and proper vacation destination of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. And on their first full day of the visit, the crew welcomed 699 people across the decks in just 2 hours, which may be a new record. And so that was a firsthand account from the Pride from their website, and mentioning how many visitors they had. I saw some pictures of like really long lines just to go visit the ship.
Right, right. And I almost feel like I don't know, maybe we take her for granted a little bit here. I mean, I think people are pretty excited when we get to see the Pride of Baltimore, but
Sure.
um, it's maybe I don't know. Those lines were pretty long. Those people were pretty darn
Yeah.
excited. Yeah,
Well, I mean, for them to see a tall ship that's may come once once a period once a couple of years or so. It's an
that's
off.
true.
Well, in the early
That's true.
1980s, the Coast Guard Eagle had
Right.
made a trip down to Charleston, where I was, where I grew up, and that's what
Hmm.
we did. The ship came in, and they announced it in the newspaper, and we went down there for the free tour, and so it's kind of that same feel.
Yeah.
We're just lucky to be the kind of the host city for the ship. So.
Very cool.
After Wisconsin, she is going to Detroit
Hmm.
in the first week in August, and Buffalo, and then finishing up with the Tall Ships Erie program in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Very cool.
So that's going to round out the Pride of Baltimore's summer trip here.
Yeah, we'll have to hear from Patrick about guesstimated like is she coming straight home then?
Mhm.
I mean, as straight as you can,
Sure, yeah, straight in the water as possible.
but I meant, no other fun stops.
Right.
I'm sure they'll be stopping for fuel, of course, and maybe supplies or something. But
Sure. Okay.
uh,
Um, the Howard Street Tunnel is moving right along, isn't it?
yeah, this week on the tunnel update, and we don't get to see a whole lot from in there, so it's pretty cool when you actually get to see what is going on in there. So here I'm going to read some of this. This was from Port of Baltimore on Facebook. We're coming down the home stretch of a project that is modernizing this historic CSX Howard Street Tunnel in Baltimore and will allow for double stack containers on rail to and from the Port of Baltimore, going west, really, just to be specific. Scheduled to be completed in 2026. Crews have safely removed and lowered 3,400 feet, length flooring in the nearly 8,700-foot long tunnel. Project has also included vertical clearance improvements for 21 additional sites in Maryland, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. So that's eastbound or
Mm-hmm.
northbound. Railroad people, don't yell at me. Don't at me. When completed, the enhanced Howard Street Tunnel will increase the port's business by 160,000 containers annually. Wait a minute, let me get out my calculator.
Mm-hmm.
160. And create more than 13,000 jobs. Now, the 13,000 jobs includes the people working on the tunnel itself. So, what is this thing? Have we figured this out? This
No, I am not sure what this is. Unfortunately, I'm not up on my rail construction knowledge
Mm-hmm.
base. But it
Oh,
does
I
look.
see. See, that's the spreader bar is sitting on top of the rail section,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they just lifted it, or they're about to lift it.
Well, I also noticed that workers are on the other end of the rail line. It ends at that point right where this guy is standing. And so
Yeah.
I'm imagining this is all part of trying to get the thing aligned, set in place, and
Hmm.
locked in as they continue to progress down the tunnel.
Yeah. I'm have. Maybe we should just be happy we have a picture and not try to figure it out. It is cool though.
I
It
will
is
say, if you
really
look,
cool.
just looking at like the walls and things and how everything is
Mhm.
just bricked in from the original construction, that
Mhm.
part of it's pretty fascinating.
And what I find really interesting is go to the next picture.
Mm-hmm.
Is the next picture is yeah, that's it. That must have been, well, maybe that's further up the tunnel where they haven't finished, right? And
Right.
then they're lifting in these giant concrete prefab sections,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like maybe go to the next photo. Yeah, right. I mean, that is an incredible transition, is what I
Mm-hmm.
see. Right? Because who knows what the bottom of this thing looked like before?
Well, I can tell you what
I'm
it looked. I can tell you what it looked like. Looked like that.
well, I meant, if we could
to com-
see it with the
to
with
compare
the
like the old where the old rail line was versus the new one.
yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
just amazing. It makes it look so much better, and I mean, a huge amount of structure that and stability and that they're adding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't picture it would be a fully new stressed sections of concrete lifted on to make a new floor,
Right.
and then the rail line on top of that. I didn't even comprehend that.
I was imagining, okay, you got a rail line going in a tunnel, you scrape the rock away, you drop it down 15 inches, and then you know fill it back in with rock, and it's
Yeah,
totally not what I had
right,
ever
with
imagined.
ballast, the old, yeah. I didn't picture this, and then I wonder if all those sections are as short as that one seemed.
Yes, and here's the reason why I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
One morning when I was driving to work up I-97 towards Baltimore, I passed a
Mm-hmm.
flatbed that had two of those pieces strapped to the back of on a flatbed 18 wheeler. And as soon as I
Right.
looked at it and I go, I know where that's going. And it was, it's just the same, cutout, and they come in and they grab it and in the next video, there's a video right after this shows
Oh, cool.
a transport car moving equipment back and forth once the line is here. Let me see if I can.
Wow. Interesting. I wonder if it's supplies going in. I guess it
Yeah,
looks like it's all wrapped up.
yeah, that's all stuff going to the end point down to to the end construction site, and so they'll load this up full of all of the materials they got to take all the way to the other end, so that they don't have to hand carry it. Um,
Right, of course.
so that's a neat to kind of actually show movement through the tunnel at that point.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
So
Very cool.
that's pretty neat to see some updates on that and continue to
Mm-hmm.
progress towards 2026. Um, So we do have some key bridge demolition
Mm-hmm.
updates. You want to go through
Yeah.
that? I got some pictures for you also to
Great. Great. Yeah, and I have a lot of stuff to read, but we have a lot of nice little details that we ran across that we didn't have last week. But this is a neat shot because this is so that slab is like 6 feet, like front to back on that loader. Okay, but it's interesting that they cut it with the side jersey wall still there. Isn't that interesting?
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I thought, but um I didn't know that they would cut right through the jersey wall and pick the whole thing up as kind of one piece. Now, I don't know how many pieces it takes to get across a bridge, 3 or 4 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's 10 inches thick, 6 foot wide. So saw cutters cut the bridge into manageable sections. Once cut, a large tract excavator lifts each bridge panel from the far edge of the bridge and delivers it to a transfer point. From there, a front end loader takes it down the bridge to a staging area and beyond the bridge abutment. Concrete will be reused for on-site access roads, and structural steel will be recycled at facilities. And this is a neat picture. This Husqvarna diamond saw. Initially when we first saw or first heard of this work and we first saw the trucks up on the bridge, and our engineer friend looked up who won the contract, and he's like, oh yeah, here's the company name, and I know those people. And and then I have a friend that works for Amtrak, and I got talking to him, and he's like, oh, and when they cut it, they do this and they do this, and going into all these details, because he's been a part of projects where you've had to take down old bridges and put up new ones, and how do you're in the city and there's traffic going and you can't stop everything, and how do you safely take something apart,
Sure.
So that was a huge amount of information. But from a WTOP article, and I'm going to keep reading here.
Okay.
Officials say moving the new bridge more than 260 feet to the east will allow crews to tear down one bridge and build another at the same time, which I hadn't heard that specific reason before. But I also read this week that that they encountered some old bridge leftovers, like below the mud, that would have just been way too difficult to manage and get that stuff out of there. You imagine 50 feet down and then way down in the mud,
having to dig the mud
right where you need to drive some piles.
Right.
And how long a pain in the neck would it be to get that stuff out of there and verify it's out of there, because you don't want to be driving something down and then hit, So, hey, move the bridge 260 feet. We don't hit anything.
Right.
Problem solved, which is interesting. The new bridge alignment will run parallel to the old structure. I think maybe we assume that. And then I don't think we knew this. They're building those giant round, rolled welded piles that pictures that we had, last week.
That's right.
In Texas. They're doing it in Texas. And they'll be sent up here on the barge.
That would be kind of cool to see when the first ones come up on the camera.
Right. And knowing how much those folks pay attention, the people that hang out in that, and watch the camera, I'm sure they'll see that barge coming from a couple 100 miles away.
maybe our friends down in Norfolk in the Shipwatchers group down there will notify us as it's coming through.
There's a guy who takes a picture of every ship coming to Baltimore on Instagram and Twitter, and tags me.
Oh, okay.
On every ship. So I'll let him know that, I don't know, sometime later on there's going to be barges with these giant, long, round piles coming in. Let me know when you see it.
Sure. Cool. All right.
Let me see. There's still some more stuff here. The combination of the riverbed softness and wanting to begin building the bridge as quickly as possible made the decision to reroute the bridge easier, officials said. The material is very, very loose, said Brian Wolf, director of project management at MDTA. Upwards of 60 to 70 feet of, loose mud or material to get to a hard layer that we can put foundations into. So it's interesting when you hear all these details that go into why have things taken so long? Where are they going? How did they find out? What
That's
went into all the background of making all these decisions on a bridge that nobody had years to plan for. Oh, and by the way, is going to cost $2 billion.
that's it.
So
That's a
when it
challenge.
costs $2 billion, you want to make sure you get it right,
Oh, absolutely, yes.
right? And I'm just there's an awful bunch of impatient folks out there who don't seem to realize all that goes into this.
Right. Again, I get it. I drove over the thing every day. I
Right.
want the thing back, But you pointed on something that I want to go make sure we go back to.
Oh,
And you said that they were concerned about the riverbed's softness and wanting to begin the construction as quickly as possible. All right. So they
yes.
want the thing built also. They're not having, fun time just hanging out, lolly
Right.
doll. We got to build a. No, they want to think. So they are also making decisions on the educated, professional decisions on the fly in order to go and address all of these problems. So they are probably going as fast as they humanly possibly can
Right.
under a number of constraints that most bridge construction projects don't have to deal with.
Right.
So give them a little bit of grace. That's I
Well, you don't get a whole lot of that on Facebook, Kip.
I understand that, but
But I mean, like you just said, okay, so they found some pieces below the mud line. And so what if they get down there and they bring in all this equipment and they're trying to pick this stuff. So now you're dredging just to get to the stuff,
right.
right? And how long does that take? Is the equipment readily available?
Mm-hmm.
What if you find more than two pieces? How do you verify that you don't hit anymore? Are you going out there with piles and just kind of, as I was under the impression that the way they were searching was just by pushing stuff
Mm-hmm.
into the mud and seeing if they hit anything. And then, okay, well, we're going to take, this whole section of the bridge, move it this way, and then we'll just adjust this end and we'll adjust this end. And it can make it a lot faster,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you don't know how long solving that problem is going to take.
Correct.
Right. So, and then I have some more here. There was also, and this might be some of the stuff we already covered. There was also some debris on the far side by the north end that we thought we could miss, but as we started the original design and progressed, we realized that it was going to be in conflict, which was going to potentially have to delay the project. So by shifting the movement, the alignment to the current location 260 feet to the east, it got us away from that potential conflict. MDTA Executive Director Bruce Gardner said, extensive precautions will be taken to safeguard the new bridge, including the design of the expanded protection equipment will be hundreds of yards from the bridge to keep ships away from another bridge collision. And we had covered that when we saw those first diagrams, and you could see like the riprap island was hundreds of feet from those
Yeah.
pilings. And this nugget from an article today that I hadn't heard this either. So we're getting the thickness of the concrete, the size of the concrete, why it was moved, a couple different reasons why it was moved, and then this. Once the bridge is 70% designed, so it's hard to get your brain around the fact that we see this pretty picture and we had the big reveal, but maybe that's kind of like other design projects, it's more notional. Like it
Mm-hmm.
looks like it's done, but it's really not. So when we last talked to Bruce, which was just a couple of weeks ago, he said about 50%. So once the bridge is 70% designed, the state will establish an updated timeline and budget. I think a lot of folks are wondering about, how can they keep saying, well, I don't know if anybody's saying it, but nobody's saying it's not the end of 2028 anymore,
Yeah,
right? And with what we see as this long delay on the front, how could the back of the schedule not move also? So once they get to that 70%, then I think we're going to get an updated date.
I agree with you.
Do we have any more
Yeah, we
pictures, or
have
was
it.
that all?
Just about to say, I've got a couple more
Oh, sorry.
pictures with the.
Oh, that's a cool shot.
These are some other shots. Now these kind of I think go kind of backwards in progression.
And that's okay. So let's stick with this one. So if you see these orange booms on the left and the right of the bridge, those are safety harness devices.
Oh,
So yes, so we've seen the guys out walking the I beams,
wow.
right? Walking the I beam tied to this safety harness,
Hmm.
right? We've seen it on camera, and um, I'm not sure what exactly happened, but now they have one of those JLG lifts with a
Mhm.
really long arm, and so now instead of using these safety harness things, apparatuses, they're using this man lift with and the guys are actually in a basket
And a little cherry picker bucket.
attached to,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the arm on this thing is just crazy
Hmm.
long. So I think there's some sort of requirement tied to having these beams cleaned up. Now, how much they have to be cleaned up and why they have to be cleaned up here? Why couldn't they clean them up when they're on the barge, where it would be a lot easier? I'm not sure I understand that, but
Sure.
I'm sure somebody does. And this was like the first day or the first few
Right.
days, and you can kind of see, like, if you look at the end there, you don't have ability to zoom in, do you?
No, not on this one.
Okay. But you can almost see the grate that you would drive over, right?
Yeah.
The
Right
expansion
here.
joint grate between the two sections. And when you look at that, like both sections are there. So the other section ripped off from the expansion joint and just, you know, went into the water. But yeah, this is probably from the first day or so.
Hmm.
And those gray trucks are the company that supplies the diamond cutting saws.
Gotcha. There's a better picture of the grate.
There's a zoom in. Wow. And that's probably one of the first sections that they took out.
Yeah.
Right. So in that picture, it looks like 3 sections across.
Hmm.
Each section is. Now I could get that verified with my engineer buddy, because he'll just look at the plans and tell you how far apart these beams are. Right. So when we look at this picture, see that first removed section looks like it's about 2 beams wide.
Hmm.
Right. So, and there's 6 beams. So maybe that's what it means, is that, yeah, how far? Yeah. Anyway.
I think your math's right on that one. Makes sense.
Yeah, maybe.
We got some news that came out from about the CSX's coal terminal in Curtis
Mm-hmm.
Bay. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
The Maryland Department of the Environment issued an operating permit for the Curtis Bay coal facility, requiring CSX to construct a windscreen to minimize coal dust leaving the site. And the purpose of it is to block the wind from dispersing coal particles into the surrounding community. And then there'll also be an enhanced spraying system to further prevent any more dispersal. So this is, and
I missed that about the spraying because consoles, we see them
Mhm.
spraying their coal pile down
all the time.
on camera all the time.
Yeah. So, and this is based on some community concerns. The residents of Curtis
Mm-hmm.
Bay, for many, many, many years, have been talking about the coal dust affecting their homes and health, and those kind of related problems. Um, there is
Mm-hmm.
some concern about whether the screen is going to be, how effective it really is, and how that permit's going to be enforced. But
Oh, is that written there in the write up?
yeah, it's written there in the write up.
Oh, okay. I didn't get to that.
But there are some studies that says that found that higher levels of black carbon and particulate
Wow.
matter from when the terminal was active and blowing into the residential areas. So they've got some information there
Mm-hmm.
to kind of support that. So CSX is rolling all of this. They operate the Curtis Bay piers. They are a major coal export terminal for the port, and they transport coal for both domestic and international markets. And so
Mm-hmm.
they've invested in upgrades over time, but this is going to be the next step that they have to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Um,
So I don't know if you remember. I think I mentioned this before. My next door neighbor is one of the works for one of the contractors that has been doing the upgrades there for a while.
okay.
Um, since that fire that they had,
Yeah.
and they decided to go in and do some stuff, and they've done a lot of improvements just in the facilities, themselves. Um, but I'm just, my brain is always fascinated by how things work, and so okay, so you're gonna put up a screen that's what 150 foot high, whatever it is. So this giant screen, and it's going to prevent dust, Kip. It's going to prevent dust.
So before we started the episode, we talked about this.
Right.
But in reading the article again,
Okay.
if they are constructing the windscreen, it sounds like to me that they're putting the windscreen up to slow the wind down, not the dust.
Oh.
So we had kind of imagined, oh, let's put this screen up and it's going to collect dust, and then it's going to get heavy. And how do
Hmm.
you remove it and clean it? It almost sounds like that this
Can
the
you can you point out that?
yeah. So it
Oh,
says
to block the wind.
yeah. It
Oh,
says the
from dispersing
windscreens.
coal particles.
Yeah,
Well,
the windscreen's primary function is to block the wind from dispersing the coal particles. So the coal particles are still going to float around. That's the reason why you need to hose it down, like what they do across the river.
hmm.
But the screen goes up to help block the wind to keep and really it's a wind resistance and not a coal particle resistance.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I still think it's gotta keep. It's gotta. Yeah. Is it?
I would be curious with some of my with from
Mm-hmm.
looking at things from a technical perspective. I'd be
Right.
curious to see what the design is around this, to see what it's at, what kind of wind flow is it really blocking, and
Right.
put it up. Let's put it up. Let's see if it really does reduce it. You know,
Now, if you put it around the backside, if you will,
mm-hmm,
which faces the community, um, I think that would seem to make the most sense to me. But I'm not a weather or wind or cold dust expert. But if you put it around the back of the property, which I think would be fairly easy,
mm-hmm,
um, from there's nothing crossing that the back of that property that would prevent you from building a giant screen
sure,
around it. Um, but I would think it would have to be able to stop. the dust also.
I would think so
Because
also.
if it's just stopping the wind, then you got to figure out, well, where's the wind coming from? Well, it probably comes from every darn direction. You know, you don't want to put it up and then go, oh, we didn't put it over here, so every time it blows from the out of the north, which it hardly ever does, I don't know. Maybe we'll spend some time pulling it up on the map and kind of talking through it.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking that if you're putting up a screen and it's got to stop dust, so that to me says the screen's got to be pretty fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's pretty fine, then it's not like, you know, at a golf course where you just have to stop a golf ball every
Right.
once in a while. You're stopping dust constantly. So it's pretty fine. And then don't you think like 40 and 50 and 60-mile-an-hour winds would have quite an effect on something like that? So the engineering that you're going to have to do to make some poles that are 150 to 200 feet tall and they can hold something that's going to have 50 and 60-mile-an-hour winds applied to it.
Right.
You know, this isn't just like putting a fence up at your house. I think it's going to be quite involved.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I hope you know, I don't live there. I'm not going to pretend to know what those people are going through,
Right.
but I'm hope that they're at least uh, are happy that hearing that, you know, the state is going to require this. The state is tying this, and I don't know if you have this information in there, but I think they have 180 days to put this up.
Oh. Wow.
Or something like that.
Okay.
Which sounds awfully fast to come up with to do some engineering. So somebody's going to be spending some money, but we'll have to follow up and see. And it's kind of cool when you're doing your podcast, and it's almost like people are reading your mind. The port photographer is texting me, and so is the guy who runs Wallenius Wilhelmsen.
Oh. Okay.
Because we've been talking about Airbus parts coming in on a ship today.
Yeah, I saw some
Did you
pictures
see
of
that post?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I said, well, what's the rest of the story? And they were like, well, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, you obviously don't know me very well. Why do we only see one? Where are they going? Did somebody go to LKQ International Auto Parts or International Airline Parts and just bought one chunk of an Airbus and they're going to make it out of some scrap? I mean, where's this stuff going?
Don't they make the Airbuses in Europe?
Supposedly they make some in Canada and we ship parts to Canada from here. I'm glad they're coming here.
Sure.
I'm glad they come here. I just find the logistics of it kind of interesting.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Like when we figured out that the stuff that comes in at Hawkins Point goes by train to New York.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like, why would you? Yeah. Anyway, interesting stuff.
Sure.
How things work.
Speaking of some interesting things, we had our first scheduled ship to Fairfield Pier number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which would be in the right of this picture.
Yeah. So this is actually a screenshot out of the port's consolidated transportation plan.
Mm-hmm.
When back in 2022, Pier 4 went under construction or reconstruction for repair so it could be put back into use. So this is publicly available out on the internet to explain each particular project that that MDOT is involved with. But you're correct in this picture here. Pier number 4. This is on the south side of the river. So
Mm-hmm. Yes.
this is the the dredge containment material facility right there for
Yep.
Masonville Cove. This is the
Yep.
south end of it,
Masonville. Yep.
and then so this is the pier right here, and then
Mm-hmm.
Amports is right there, and the Mercedes um, terminal is there. So
Mm-hmm.
this is the terminal area that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the Berth 4 had been closed for years, and it was rebuilt by McLean Contracting. It was supposed to be completed in July, and so it looks like that they got pretty close to that deadline, and the first ship came in
Cool.
the second week of August.
Nice.
So to give two berths that the Maryland Port Administration owns in Fairfield Terminal. But you also have the Atlantic and Chesapeake terminals there also, and so this kind of gives a summary of what the project was and where it went. So that was an interesting piece of information that came in. That actually expands our capacity here in the port.
This pier it's been there, but they wanted to bring it up to standards to be able to dock a big old ro-ro ship up to it. And for the longest time, I barely knew this was going on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat to see and hear about some things, where there's an old pier there, but you're going to be able to use it and get two ships in there at once, if need be.
Right.
So that's a really cool addition to the port.
Also,
yes,
we had some news coming from the Dali.
Yeah, that was interesting. Were you surprised at all when you heard that?
Yes and no. I mean, I didn't know that's what the situation was. Here, let me read a little bit about what we've got here on the screen. So, Grace Ocean Private Limited, which is the Dali's owner, and Synergy Marine Private Limited, which is the ship's manager, has filed a lawsuit in Pennsylvania, interesting, against the vessel's shipbuilder, which is HD Hyundai Heavy Industries of South Korea. And so the claim is that the ship had a simple but dangerous defect that caused the electrical system to lose power. The lawsuit alleges that HD Hyundai Heavy Industries of South Korea designed and installed a faulty switchboard that led to repeated electrical failures on board, and a single signal wire, of which you see on the screen now, node number 381, led to the catastrophic power failure of the Dali, according to the new lawsuit. It claims that the signal wire was not designed to remain securely connected to the terminal block, and a design defect caused the switchboard in the vessel to be unreasonably dangerous, and as a result suffered a power loss that led to the key bridge collapse. So what they're saying is this cable right here brought the bridge down. Or at least that's what the claim is.
Yeah.
It says, according to the lawsuit, Hyundai placed a thick white label too close to the end of the cable, which caused it to come loose. You see the white label right there. That opened the circuit breaker and caused the initial power loss on the switchboard. So this will be interesting to kind of watch and see what comes out of this lawsuit over this one cable.
Yeah. And maybe that is the catalyst that caused all the other things. Because remember, we talked about a lot of different things that went into this happening, this accident.
And you all, I think we remember that the NTSB also boarded some of the sister ships also.
I think that's, well, they were boarded. I'm not sure who boarded them. I don't recall specifically who, but
correct.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It may not have been them, but there was boardings that took place on sister ships as they came into Baltimore. And we asked that question. I wonder what they're checking on.
Right. And then where do you fall into The ship is what, 6 or 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you fall into? I mean, obviously a horrible event, right? But so I don't know. If I look at it, if it's my car, how would I
Is
feel
it still
about it?
under warranty or not?
Right? And if it's not under warranty, I mean, and there was a defect um that was a little inconvenient, I'd be mad. If there was a defect that was that caused an accident,
Mm-hmm.
I would not be happy. And if it was a defect that caused an accident which caused an injury, I wouldn't be happy. I don't know. I guess I'm waffling back and forth in that, you know, you're blaming the manufacturer 6 years later. I mean, this is a vibration environment, which I would imagine requires an awful lot of maintenance. And nobody ever checks to see that the wires are tight in 6 years or 10
Yeah,
years.
I
Do
would be
all the
well.
inspections and
Do you check your wiring in your? Well, it's not a vibration type environment, so that's not really a
yeah,
good. I mean,
good point.
you kind of expect the
Good
wires in
point.
your junction box in your house not to come apart, but sometimes that does happen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
or it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things here that can
Yeah.
go either way.
Because I've seen some comments where people are saying something along the lines of, "Well, I sure hope they have all their maintenance records,
Mm-hmm.
and they better be in really good shape, or else it could leave a shadow of a doubt that something caused this thing to be loose. That
Right. What?
how can you prove
Mm-hmm.
that nothing happened in 6 years to make this wire come loose,
Right.
and that it's absolutely um, the fault of the manufacturer.
Right.
That's just what. So that's not what I'm saying. That's one point of view.
Sure. Oh no, no. Another point of view. And I'm not ship designer, shipbuilder at all. But I would be curious to see what other ships' electrical panels look like, and what the similar cables or the
Mm-hmm.
equivalent cables would be on other ships, to see what kind of
Yeah,
comparison. That's just from my knowledge base.
right. And we had talked about this before. Like, I look at this and I picture, my set of speakers from the 70s or the 80s, right? And you had the little black and the little
Mm-hmm.
red clip on the back, and you take the speaker wire and you'd strip it and you'd twist it and you'd shove it in there and you'd let it go, and a spring would hold it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Is that really what we're doing in an engine room? I mean, we
Well, look at.
wouldn't want a more finite connection than a spring held piece of wire. I mean, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, how many? It doesn't sound like it's a common occurrence that these come
That's
out, or
true.
we would have more problems out there. I mean, you could see the little indentations where where the screw gets kind of tightened in, I guess, to lock it in place. But
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that
Um,
was some interesting information. We'll add that to the list of all of the lawsuits that are going on, and try to keep some updates on that.
right. Right. And uh, who the heck knows when this will actually go to trial?
Right.
Right. And I wonder why Pennsylvania. That is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You had
Well,
some information on a ship that left.
so just a normal day where I'm paying attention to shipping like I always do. And this ship leaves, and I just click on marine traffic, and oh, where's this going? And it was Yuzhny. It's Yuzhny. That's where it said it was going. And I'm like, what in the world is that? So, I put it into like Google Maps, and I found a really small port in the Ukraine. Right. And it's like in a little river inlet. But there's room for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 ships there, and they do grain and coal and containers and
Wow. Okay.
So, and I'm kind of paying attention to what's going on there, but I can't pretend to actually know what's going on in country. But I mean, I would imagine that more than half the country is still trying to function
Sure.
while they're getting bombed every night. So I mean, you got to try to bring in coal for power plants and try to sell grain so you can have money to buy more I mean, who knows
Sure.
what's going on over there, but it was kind of surprised to see a ship leaving little old Baltimore and taking coal to Ukraine.
Yeah.
Now, since they've changed their destination, so I don't know what's up with that, but
Right.
um, was very interesting to see. Just lets you know that there may be some semblance of normalcy somewhere over there, which makes me feel a little bit better for the people.
Sure.
Maybe.
And
Maybe.
Still fascinating that you had a coal ship coming out of here going there.
Well, and ships go to China, India, and to the Mediterranean with coal out of Baltimore all the time. All the time. That happens on the regular. It really does. Yep.
All right. Well, that's pretty neat. You're gonna keep on this one just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I think I would like to keep an eye on that one.
Okay.
And now that we have it documented, I won't be able to forget the name.
I'll be curious to see where it actually does end up. What the destination ends up being, since it
Right.
had an original destination and it got changed. So
Yeah. Well, as long as they don't turn off the AIS.
correct.
Yeah, we'll see if we can keep track of it. That would be interesting.
Moving on, we have some upcoming events. August the 23rd. Our friends with the John W. Brown and the nuclear ship Savannah is hosting a Maritime History Day out on Pier 13 in Canton. If you want a chance to go see tour both vessels, this is your chance. The Savannah is requiring that you sign up for her tours. So if you will go to www.ns-savannah.com, there is a registration button there for you to register for open tours. You'll be able to go down into the containment facility and see where the nuclear power plant was. The John Brown will also have her tours, and so if you want to see something that's really cool with both ships, you didn't get a chance to come out during Maritime Day in May. This will be a good time for that. I believe that both ships will have their ship stores open so that you can purchase some of the gifts that are there. Also, the nuclear ship Savannah is soliciting for docents, and docents are your tour guides that help with these tours through the vessel. There is a training session if you want to be a docent on Tuesday, August the 12th. That's coming up next week. And so if you are interested in becoming a docent, a tour guide for the vessel, you can email, I believe it's Bob Adams and the email address is president@ns-savannah.org.
Okay,
So if
cool.
you're interested in participating and helping out and doing something really cool like that, you may consider becoming a docent for the ship.
Yeah.
So that's so definitely go check that out coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, some really cool stuff, to be able to see these ships. The one still running on its original engine. We forget almost 80 years ago. That ship was the John Brown, a warship from World War II, was built just across the river here in Baltimore. And then some, what, 30 years, not even 30 years later, 20 years later, 20 years later, the total opposite end of the spectrum, a nuclear ship um, at the same pier. So I mean, you go from one side of the pier like you're in a time machine.
That
Um,
I'd never made that connection before, and we've been around both vessels.
right.
I've brought teachers, educators through both vessels, but I've never made that connection. It's only a 20-year difference.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Because we look at the John Brown as something so fascinating because it still works,
right.
right? It still works on the original equipment, and it's over 80 years old now. And then, but we look at the Savannah as it's, I mean, it's older. It's 60 years old itself, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around there. But it has this sleek look to it, and kind of futuristic looking inside, um, and something that we still don't seem to have a really good harness on, nuclear power after all
Yeah.
this time. Some countries seem to have a pretty good handle on it, but we haven't built a nuclear power plant in this country outside the new one in Georgia that was just built next to the old one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we haven't built a nuclear power plant in this country in what, 40 years, I think. So,
Okay.
Kind of interesting. You're almost like going through a time machine as you walk from one side of the pier to the
Yeah.
other. A pretty cool experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, we were hoping to be there. I was hoping to be there, but I've got some previous engagements, so I can't
Sure.
be there. That would have been cool. I think this is a pretty great thing, to basically come up with your own maritime day, for lack of a better term. Let's come up with another one,
Mm-hmm.
um, and have another way, uh, to have, these two ships attract people at the same time, and everybody can come and see both. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
really cool thing to have going on, and I would hope that maybe it would be an annual event. That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
Because,
Absolutely.
Maritime Day happens once a year, and then people are like, "Oh, I missed it." That thing that happened once a year, and I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So more opportunities for folks. So
Yeah.
great
Absolutely.
stuff.
All right. In the Port of Baltimore history segment here, the first one. This was back at the end of July, July 28th, 1942. This is the tanker Franz Clausen, and she struck the Chesapeake City Bridge that existed back then. Struck
Oh,
the
it was a
lift.
lift bridge.
This was the lift bridge. When it struck, it completely destroyed it. The current bridge that you see now is a suspension arch bridge that was completed in 1949, and so
And this was from 42. Okay.
So the Frederick News, or they call it the News Frederick, reported that the oil tanker smashed into the highway drawbridge over the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal just before noon on the 28th, plunging the huge structure into the canal. And the first reports in this particular article is that there were no one was on the bridge, nobody was injured, and the tanker struck the south concrete span, and part of the bridge fell on the bow of the ship. And so that was a witness account. A hole smashed through the port bow of the vessel. And so,
wow,
the Dali's not the only one that's has a bridge connection to the Port of Baltimore and the Chesapeake Bay region. So that was the end of July that we didn't pick up on. Also, Yes,
Now, how
yes.
did you find that? Did you just happen to run across that, or did you?
There was I think one on one of the Facebook groups
Oh,
that covers like ship accidents or vessels or some,
oh,
just general. And I happened to look at it and go, what's this? Oh, that's us. Okay. So,
wow.
also, August the 6th, I didn't realize it has been this long, but it's been 9 years since the passing of Helen Bentley.
Hmm.
And so I remember this, but the port put a little
Video
montage
out.
for her.
Mm-hmm.
These are just some of the different shots of her throughout the years, and
Nice.
she's the namesake of the port. Obviously, lots of documented history of her involvement and
Mm-hmm.
support of the Port of Baltimore. So there was a little bit of a remembrance of her on her day of passing.
Very cool. Thank you.
Also, August 7th is National Lighthouse Day. Yeah, so there you go. There's your lighthouse picture there to celebrate the National Lighthouse Day. Go hug your local lighthouse. I wait,
That would
so
look kind of funny, wouldn't it?
yeah. Um, growing up down in South Carolina, we would actually go down to Hunting Island State Park, which is just south of Beaufort, for a
Okay.
big weekend beach soiree camping trip. And
Mm-hmm.
they used to have, and I think the lighthouse had been remodeled and now it's back open. But we used to be able to climb to the top of the lighthouse and at any point during the day, and look at all the views and everything. So
Cool.
it's neat. I enjoy the lighthouses. I know that we
Yeah.
have a lot of different lighthouse connections here with the bay and navigational
Mm-hmm.
operations and things. So that's
Yeah.
so think about that for August 7th, National Lighthouse Day,
Very cool. Thank you.
and that's all I've got.
Okay. If I do wind up trying to sell these shirts, keep an eye on the merch page of the website, because that's probably where I'll have to, you know, just put a couple of pictures and say, "Hey, Venmo me" or whatever.
Sure.
Um, yeah, that's all we got for today, I think. Again, we're Baltimore and Chesapeake Bay ship watchers. Uh, our goal is to try to help educate folks about the Port of Baltimore. So we have a website full of information, ship schedules, port maps, links to the camera, links to this podcast, which we try to do just about every week. Some merch, not really this shirt, but we've got t-shirts and polo shirts and hats, coffee cups. Look, my coffee cup grew. I I
I
got a
like
bigger one.
I like the size of the bigger one. You can get your
Right,
whole
right.
whole
Because
hand in.
this one was our first
Yeah,
one, which was
it's
very
still good.
cool. I was very excited to have this, but it's really barely big enough for a real cup of coffee.
Mm.
Um, and then when we went with our second store, which is available on the merch page, and there's pictures of everything on there. This is a much larger coffee cup with both logos on it. Um, so that is cool, because every time you and I film this podcast, I would have to put my coffee in one of these, right? In a bigger cup. And then I'd have to pour it into the show cup. So it was, wasn't the end of the world. It's kind of a pain in the neck. And so now I don't have to do that anymore.
There you
So
go.
that's nice. But we're also available on Twix. Shout out Amy Lawrence, Instagram, Reddit, Threads. I lose track. If if you would like to support the Ship Watchers in all of our education efforts, there are quite a bit of costs involved in running the website and keeping things up and going. You can visit the Baltimore Ship Watchers on Patreon and become a member.
And if you want to get the audio version of this, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Very cool. We were thinking about maybe, who were we thinking about? Oh, iHeart. We were thinking about maybe adding ourselves to iHeart, but we haven't really.
See where else we can get.
Yeah.
All right.
Word out to some different people.
There we go. All right, ready to count it off?
Let's do it.